Hello, everybody, and welcome to Football Italia. This is going to be Italy versus Albania, the first match in Group B of the tournament. I am here with Lorenzo Bettoni. Lorenzo, he is live at the stadium. What
I'm
is
not alone. I'm not alone. You see the stadium behind me. You see a few fans. Yeah, it's getting really exciting. Full of people, full of fans. Lot of Albanians. I think I don't know. We've read around 50,000, and I don't struggle to believe it because it's Red Sea really. All fans wearing red shirts. There are of course a few Italy fans, quite a few Italy fans. You know, we know there is a strong community of Italians living here in Germany, but I mean the amount of Albanian fans you would see here, it's just unbelievable. You will see some of those walking behind me, and it's incredible the support they're going to receive. But we need to show on the pitch that we're stronger. So really excited about this.
We're just waiting for starting lineups right now. They should be coming any moment. But if you had to go with the top three, you're Luciano Spalletti going into this match. You know you need 3 points. Right now, Spain is hammering Croatia, which I don't think anybody really expected. Who is your top three, your trident?
For the players, you mean tonight?
Yeah,
you mean for the players tonight?
Yeah, are you going
I mean Scamacca for sure, because we've been waiting for a striker for so long time. So for sure, Scamacca is going to be in the starting 11. With Chiesa, we know from 3 years ago how important he was, how crucial he was for the national team to win the tournament. So it was really important. Hello, man. And then for sure, I think Calafiori.
Yeah.
Albania or Italy?
2-0 for Albania.
He says 2-0 for Albania. Thank you.
No.
We hope not. We hope not. We hope not. So yeah, the third one I was saying Calafiori, because I wouldn't say surprising because he's starting right away for Italy, but don't forget he made his debut only. Literally, I told you about Albania fans. I told you there were many Albanian fans. He made his senior debut 10 days ago in Bologna in a friendly against Turkey. So he had never played before, of course. He started his first game last week against Bosnia in Empoli. And he's starting tonight. He's really starting tonight with Bastoni in defense. There have been a few doubts on whether Spalletti would use a 3-man defense or a 4-man defense. What we expect to see is a 3-man defense when we build up. So ideally, Calafiori, Bastoni, and Di Lorenzo in the 3-man defense when we have the ball and we have to keep possession and go for the goal. So line up with a sort of 3-4-3, 3-4-1-2 formation. There's another fun. And then when we don't have the ball, when we defend, we're going to use probably 4-4-2 formation. So the 4 defenders that we have, plus I would expect Pellegrini to cover the right wing role.
Yes.
And obviously probably Frattesi and Chiesa, one or the other on the left and one closer to Scamacca. So this is how I expect Italy to line up and to have this sort of tactical approach.
You bring up a good point that Pellegrini is going to drop. So we see that he's listed on paper as a winger, almost like a mezzala, something of even a wing forward. But that's not really true, as you point out, because really he's going to be collapsing. In defense, he's going to be that guy that makes that line of 4 in the midfield, along with, as also you mentioned, Di Marco. He'll probably be the player of the defense when they do have the ball, when Italy are in possession. It'll be that 3-man back line with Di Marco really pushing up to put more pressure on them. I want to ask you also, look, we have Bastoni. He's now 25, which seems like it happened overnight. But Calafiori, only 22 years old. This is a very different type of defense compared to the one last time out where Italy won the gold. So is that a concern for you?
Yeah, it's actually a very good point. I mean, Bastoni, I think he's been the best Italian defender for the last couple of years, the best Italian centre back for the last couple of years. We've finally seen probably not the Scottish fans, not Italian fans, somehow Scottish fans working down here. I think talking about Bastoni was one of the best. I mean, the best central defender. Not saying it. I mean, even Chiellini has been saying the same for so long. I wouldn't say concern with Bastoni. There are no concerns with Bastoni because it really is a very strong defender, a modern centre back that every top team wants in its team. And luckily for Inter, they have it. They have him. So we know he's accustomed to playing a three-man defence with Inzaghi and with Inter. So I'm curious to see how he's going to do. But as we said, we expect Italy to keep the ball for longer than Albania. So I expect Italy to play with the ball with a three-man defense and to use a three-man defense more often than a four-man defense when we defend. Calafiori is accustomed to both systems. He's been playing as a left back. He's been playing as a centre back at Bologna, covering a few different roles. And I think Spalletti is really. He really likes Bastoni. I mean, even his first interview, I remember in January 2024, he said like 7-8 players who were ready to play for the national team who hadn't yet made their debut, and Calafiori was among those, and he had just played 3 months of senior football with Bologna. So he's always been impressed with Calafiori, and I think, I mean, he's the man to watch tonight because we've been talking about Scamacca now for a few months. We've been talking about Barella because he's been injured. But the man of the night for me tonight is Calafiori.
You know, it's funny that we're on this topic because a lot of people feel that Calafiori has only been a good player because he fits into Motta's system where he can not really act as a true center back, but is allowed to move way far up. And he goes and he scores goals and he contributes to the midfield and to creating goal-scoring opportunities. But that's really contrasting to what we've heard from the camp because it seems like all the players, there was a recent quote where they say, no, Calafiori is ready. This is a player we can rely on. And that seems like that's an interesting take for a 22-year-old. So my question to you, we just heard what you think, and I think you have a good feeling about Calafiori, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Spalletti sees him in very different positions. Once I was watching a training in Coverciano during the preparation to Euro 2014, and he was playing like it was just 15 minutes open to the media, and he showed us like a sort of game 12 against 12, where Calafiori was playing out of position. He was playing as a pure number 10. Even provided an assist for Cambiaso. I think Spalletti really likes the way that Calafiori is on the ball, how strong he is, how solid he is. And if you see Calafiori from close distance, like we've been watching him these days, he's huge. He is massive, man. He's really strong physicality for a centre back. He's got what you need from a centre back. And of course, it's a big night tonight because it's the Euro 2024 debut as defending champions. So it's a big night for Italy. It's a big night for Calafiori as well.
It's funny you mention his size too, because Bastoni is not exactly small. Bastoni is a monster.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to have a lot of physicality for the Azzurri today. And there was a recent quote off the top of my head. I forget who said it, but they were blaming Guardiola because they said something like, I think it may have been Chiellini who said Guardiola messed up Italy's defenders because now, instead of being these players who want to go out and be very good defensively first and know how to mark, it may have been Bonucci, by the way, he's saying that now all the center backs, they think about going forward. But I don't want to say that's just the past, because Italy's past is probably the best in history besides from Brazil. But then you also throw in Italy's Euro success. Italy is perhaps the greatest national team of all time. So we take that into consideration and say, now this is like uncharted territory for us because we have physical, ball-playing, athletic, offensive thinking center backs, and it does very much feel like the start of a new era. Is that something which are we getting that feeling around right now? I think Lorenzo froze for a second, but we'll see. Anyway, until Lorenzo comes back to us, guys, we'll keep on going. We are just
here. Just a second. Sorry, I'm just froze because I've received a message with the confirmed lineup, and it's all confirmed. So we go with Donnarumma, Di Lorenzo, Bastoni, Calafiori, and Di Marco. We go with Jorginho and Barella, Frattesi, Pellegrini, Chiesa, and Scamacca. Finally, some Italian fans. I'm
going to pull that up in 1 second as soon as I can zoom in on this too. So Frattesi with this start, oh boy, this is going to be.
We start with Frattesi, we start with Pellegrini, we start with Chiesa. As we said, there are many. There we go. Yeah, as we said, all confirmed what we've been saying so far. So there are many ways we can line up with this team. Really, as we said, it can be 3-4-2-1, 3-4-1-2. It can even be 4-3-2-1. I would say with the 4 defenders, with Frattesi, Barella, and Jorginho in midfield, Chiesa and Pellegrini, and Scamacca. There are many ways we can line up tonight. On paper, it's shown as a 4-2-3-1 formation, but there are many ways we can line up.
You think Jorginho will definitely be the deepest of the midfielders, right? He's going to be sitting.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say, yeah. I got to see the friendly in New Jersey against Ecuador. And I will admit, I wasn't always the biggest fan of Jorginho. I thought he was a little bit soft, but I was really wrong. I got to see him really go out and just like tell me what he was all about. And he sticks very close to his mark. So like his positional awareness is really good. He's very strong in that aspect. He's good at winning the ball back. Look, he's not going to be Gattuso. That's not his play. He is more of a hybrid, really. It's hard to define exactly what Jorginho is, but you mentioned that with these players, Jorginho, Barella, Chiesa, and Frattesi, and Pellegrini, in kind of like a close-knit midfield, but in attack, of course, they're going to get looser. I don't know exactly what Spalletti is going to do. I know that he likes to play sometimes with the anchors or like the double pivot in midfield. Is that going to be Jorginho next to Barella? Or is it going to be Frattesi and Barella next to each other with Jorginho deeper? And then, as you mentioned, with Pellegrini playing as like that winger who gets back and tracks back. One thing that stands out. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Barella and Jorginho quite close. So I think it's going to be more similar to a 4-3-3 formation than to 4-2-3-1 formation. At the same time, as I said, it's a hybrid system. So you could see from behind what I was saying before. So the vast majority supports Albania here. But yeah, I think we have to be quite confident with his lineup. Of course, he's never tried it before. It's the very first time that he puts together Spalletti this 11. So you know, the preparation to Euro 2024 has been a little bit strange. There have been change of plans because Acerbi was supposed to be here, Scalvini was supposed to be here. So at the beginning, for example, Calafiori was seen as a backup to Bastoni, for example. Without Acerbi, of course, Spalletti had to change his plans. If there was Acerbi, I'm 100% sure this Italy side would have lined up with a 3-man defense tonight. Without Acerbi, Spalletti had to change his plans, and of course it's going to be different. It's going to be different for Italy, but it's a big chance for Calafiori. It's a big chance for Frattesi. They are, I think, both Calafiori and Frattesi have never played at the Euros. Pellegrini as well. He was supposed to be in the team 3 years ago, but he pulled out due to an injury. Debut at the Euros for Di Marco as well, for Scamacca, so quite a few debutants. And again, what you were saying at the beginning, very different from 3 years ago, less experience, probably more talent, but I think with this lineup we can be confident.
Yes, you say less experience but more talent, and I really feel the same as you in that regard. I think especially on social media, people haven't been as excited. They're a little bit more withdrawn. They're like, is this team even better than the one in 2016? And I'm like,
Guess what these fans? I told you. I told you. I don't know what they're singing. I don't know what they're singing. I don't know what they're singing. It could be anything. I don't know what they're singing. Good luck, guys.
We don't have an Albanian translator.
yeah, I don't know what they're singing. Yeah, it's probably, you would think that this was not the best place to go for a live video, but I swear it's just full of Albanian fans. It's just full. It's crazy.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy.
Can
How
you
many are
believe
you? How many are you?
It's a love us.
This is what it's all about, guys.
Prediction for the game. Let's see one prediction. Prediction for the game.
I tell you prediction of Albania. I don't know why, but I think it's 3-0 for Albania. I don't know why.
Everyone's saying Albania's gonna win.
Where are you from?
We're from Italy.
Italy. Italiano sono buono per mangiare macaroni. You know? No?
Something else as well.
Yeah?
Something else as well.
Sono buoni. Yeah?
Oh boy. Well, anyway, Lorenzo's doing his best at controlling the crowds.
Yeah, I swear I'm doing my best.
This is what it is, man. We're doing something different here. We've got you in the field. Things are gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean it was quite predictable, but I mean seriously, when I came here by car, and it was 3 hours before kickoff, so it wasn't it wasn't like a couple of minutes ago. 3 hours before kickoff, there was like at some point I said that we're not going to do this live video, surely, because I'm not going to park, I'm not going to the stadium, I'm not getting my accreditation, I'm just going to stay here, and there's nowhere else I can go. So I parked the car like 25 minutes away from here, walking, which is not even that bad considering the queue where I was in. So yeah, I mean it wasn't that bad.
That's too funny. Wow.
My wife's not gonna be happy.
No. Well, I tell you what, Lorenzo, we're looking at this lineup.
I've turned the microphone down. I've turned the microphone down. We can roughly understand what they said is actually not very nice, but I've tried to bring the microphone down and try to hear as less as possible.
That's okay. If they bother you, the show must go on.
Yeah, of course. We just go on. It's all happening around here. So there's nothing. Of course, everyone's very excited because it's the second day of the Euros. Is it the first Euro for Albania? Honestly, I can't remember. Maybe it's the second. I mean, it's one of the first for sure, if it's not the first. So of course, everyone it's super excited. We are very excited as well as Italians because we come in the tournament as the defending champions, with many new players, with many talking points, with many things to say. So, of course, there is excitement. Whatever happens, we just take it. There's no problem.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this lineup, Lorenzo, and there is excitement. Before I go on to the lineup, I just want to say I started to really feel it. Like maybe 20 minutes ago, I turned on the TV. I was watching what Spain was doing. And like, for me, if people aren't familiar with who I am, I'm Italian American. So I didn't grow up watching American sports. For me, my life was the Azzurri. My life was watching Serie A. So I really feel this. And it's a special type of energy that is very difficult to explain. And when Italy did win it 3 years ago, I was in Rome. And it felt like when Italy won the World Cup, in a sense, it was the feeling was a little bit different, I think, because of the way that Italy won. But it's something which goes like deep down into your soul. And
yeah, it is.
It's emotional. You know, you really do feel it when you see them on the pitch. And like less than an hour away from the match now. And you know, as soon as the referee blows the whistle, you're going to get that little bit of anxiety. Your blood pressure is going to either spike or drop, depending on you. But you know, I'm just feeling very excited, and I just wanted to mention that. But also, Lorenzo, as we look at this lineup here for Albania, a lot of players who are either in or were in Serie A. No?
Yeah, a lot. I've seen quite a few Albanian fans with Inter shirts and Aslani on the back of it. Of course, one of the best players in this lineup. We know his eye very well. We know Jim City very well. Strakosha starting is a little bit of a surprise because Berisha, I think he was expected to start this morning. There were a few reports in the afternoon that Strakosha could start. So we know Strakosha anyway because he was playing. He was playing for Lazio for a few years. We got Ramadani, we got Bayrami, and we got Broha as well, who's transfer target for AC Milan. Or Milan, the British way. So yeah, there's plenty of talking points on the Albanian side as well. And I think the fact that we know many of these players can be an advantage to us. For example, Scamacca is going to face Jim City, who's been his teammate at Atalanta for the entire season. His eye's been playing in Serie A since I can remember watching Serie A. So they know us, but we know them as well. So it's going to be very exciting for this reason too.
Yeah, we know them as well. Exactly. One player who I will say is unpredictable, Bayrami. I thought he was very good at Empoli in his young 20s. He transfers to Sassuolo. He doesn't have too much success. And when now we see that Sassuolo was actually relegated, I have a feeling he's going to end up back with a Serie A team, maybe in the bottom 5, in the bottom 7. I'm not sure, but he seems to be a player who is capable at the least. I think he can do a job, to put it that way. I'm not afraid of Albania. I think we look at pound for pound, Italy is much stronger. Italy is the favorites here, the heavy favorites. But with that, like this point that Albania has so many players who have been in Serie A who are used to it. It's a bit of a different type of matchup, actually. It's almost like playing your cousin in a way because you're familiar with each other. They're gonna know how to adapt to the tactics. It's not like this foreign enemy. Like, let's say if Italy were to play Scotland, so unrelative. Of course, don't even mention Ferguson here. He's out of the tournament. But I'm trying to make this point that there's a relativity between Italy and Albania, and that could play a factor in this match.
Yeah. It's talking about Bayrami, for example. He's very unpredictable in a good and in a bad way. Like the season has been really poor for him. It's been really poor for Sassuolo. He was in and out the starting 11. He didn't really make an impact. But I saw him live a few times. Once in Sassuolo Juventus, you remember the famous Gatti own goal, that match, that game there, and he was so strong for Sassuolo. I mean, it caused a lot of troubles for Juventus in that game. So, I mean, unpredictable, but of course we know him and we know his teammates. So yeah, we're confident.
Yep, I feel that same way. I want to talk a little bit about the substitutions here as well that Italy are going to be available to call upon. The players like Buongiorno, if any of the center backs go down. There's in midfield. Italy is not lacking really. I don't feel that they are in attack. Retegui, so substitutions El Shaarawy as well. I just want to look at some other. I'm going to bring it up on my computer screen, just the full roster in 1 second. I'm going to share that in just a moment here so you can see what we've got here. Foloruncio, Fagioli, who else? Bellanova. Bellanova's another name I think that player, or I should say fans, have been really excited to talk about. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here.
Yeah,
You
I think substitutions. Um, you mentioned Belanova. I think
Yeah.
he's another of those debutants. We have 15 players in this team who have never played at the Euros, and Belanova is one of them. But I think this first 2 or 3 appearances he made under Spalletti were really, really promising. He did really well down the right flank. So I think if we need to create space down there, if we need one-to-ones, if we need to go and put some crosses in, I think Belanova will be the right player for us. I wouldn't underestimate Giacomo Raspadori as well, because he will give Italy something different from Retegian, from Scamacca, for example. He's a player who can play as a false nine. So, leitmotif of today. So
Lorenzo,
I was saying about yeah, go
I'm
on.
shocked how many Albanian fans are there today. Why is this? Is
Not
there a
so
big
many.
Albanian community in Germany?
Yeah, there's a big community here in Germany, big community, and yeah, this is it. I mean, as I said, it's one. There's a big community of Italians as well, but probably it's a little closer to Munich, for example. I'm not too practical with the with German geography and with Italians, with all the Italians living in Germany, but I know there are many in Munich. A little more than here. We on north west of Germany. We're pretty much close to the Netherlands, and yeah, there's a really huge, really huge community of Albanians, and you can see from how many stop buying here. But we were talking about replacements. We were talking about subs. We were talking about Giacomo Raspadori. I was saying he can bring something different. Spalletti has always brought in Raspadori in the previous 2 games against Turkey and against Bosnia and Herzegovina, and he's one of those players that if Albania defend with a low block, if we can't find space for Scamacca, or if we can't open space with the wingers and with late runs of midfielders, he's one of those players, probably the only player attack who can attract Albanian defenders outside the line and try to, allow wingers in and central midfielders, and he can be a key replacement in the second half.
Yeah, he's got this bit of fantasia about him that I think even Chiesa, who I think is a better overall player, but he has this imagination. He's able to do things. He's able to think. He's got that creativity aspect about him. Like you say, he can come in. He can unlock defenses. He's unpredictable. I think it's a little unfortunate for Raspadori that after he was sold, look, Napoli go on to win the Scudetto. He's part of that. But really the star of that team was Kvaratskhelia. So he was kind of like overshadowed, I feel a little bit for him. I don't want to say he should transfer from Napoli. I just think he needs to be emphasized a bit more. He needs to be included as a star player and not just like a substitution role. But for Italy, that does fit because of the direct approach that Spalletti will have with Chiesa on the left and Pellegrini as kind of like that in between. So I think you bring up a really good point about him, and that maybe if he has a good tournament, he can emerge as a big player once again. Because now I'm hearing the Albanian.
This guy is thinking we're going to lose.
But now I think it's time for him to really show.
Let's see.
So, this guy's
I wonder how they know. I wonder how they know we're Italians. They were passing on the other. They were passing on the other side, so they couldn't see your shirt. So we could be in any national team.
Yeah, true. Lorenzo,
I mean, from any country, of course. It's Albania against Italy, but it could be from any media from any country.
Of course. That was a good idea you did, because if you were wearing blue right now, I think it would be much worse.
Look,
There you go. Oh yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
I want to ask you though, aside from the substitutions, aside from the starting formation, are you having fun there? And is it incredible to actually be on the scene?
Yeah, I mean it's super cool. I'm staying at a city that is not too far from here. It's about 30 minutes from here, so it takes not too long to come in here. It's in between Dortmund and Gelsenkirchen and Iserlohn, where Italy have their training camp.
Oh, your friends are back.
Shall we ask my friends are back? We know this word as well.
Yeah.
We know this word again. This guy wasn't really friendly, but we just take it. Hopefully, when we come back for the post match, the situation is a little bit quieter. Let's see. We hope so. As Giuseppe says, I should tell them we are champions of Italy, but probably is not even the best idea. So I just remain quiet and say, and just hear to their predictions. Of course, they're very confident they can make it. They have actually a strong national team, but with the defending champions.
Yep. And that does go.
I was saying, and I was saying before about being here, which is of course super exciting. It's my first Euros as well. I've never covered a major international trophy. Of course, Serie A games, Champions League games, international friendlies, but it's the first time for me at the Euros. So I'm of course really excited. Can't wait to go inside the stadium. Can't wait to watch the game. And I was very surprised by the Germans last night, because there were, in the place where I'm staying, it's a place called Essen. There were a few places with squares and giant screen to watch the games all together, of course. And after the match, like you would see so many cars, so many loud fans, cars, and all the fans in the street making a lot of noise because they had won this game. So I didn't expect it from Germans. I would think that I thought they were more quiet and just take game just take football as football game, really, as just a game, really. But it was very different from there. We finally have Italians.
Finalmente, ci sono.
Quanto parla in italiano? Vai, ciao. This guy was so dumb he didn't even understand I was Italian.
Look at that last name, Lorenzo. Emre Can or Can.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've seen that name. We're familiar with him from his time at Juventus. Musiala, young player. He's out at Bayern Munich. Is he not? He's a winger for Bayern Munich. He was bought over. He's half English, half German.
Yeah.
Interesting story for him. Another big talent sold by Chelsea. And it kind of reminds me of like a Kevin De Bruyne situation all over again. But then, unfortunately, a name I'm very familiar with, Florian Wirtz. And I think he has the potential to be one of the top 5 players in this tournament. Leverkusen's gem there. Kid's probably worth 120 million euros at this point. So they got talent. I want to pull up this lineup for a second too. So Havertz, Gundogan, Toni Kroos in his last tournament.
Yeah.
This is going to be his last match. Albania back again.
Yeah, I think that there's some. I saw an Italian flag as well. There are 2 or 3 Italians. I've seen so many Albanian flags. there were 2 Italian flags as well, so not too bad.
Nice.
I see a Brescia shirt right in front of me.
Is Baggio on the back of it?
Is Baggio on the back of it? Look.
There he is.
Badge on the back of it.
Perfect.
So now it's getting a little bit more quiet. There's another fan coming up. There's another one coming up in here. And yeah, I mean it's the start of the tournament. It's start start of the tournament, so everyone's very exciting. We see uh, probably at the end of the game. I mean, for sure, at the end of the game, one side or another will be much more quiet. Um, we have a comment about Frattesi.
Yes, there needs to be an emphasis on Frattesi, and to me, this makes a lot of sense in that he was kind of in the rotation for Inter this year, right? But that's not his fault. I think that it's because Inter's midfield was so good. Every time that Frattesi came on and he played, it seemed like he actually scored or had some type of involvement. I think he's a great player. Perhaps there's this idea that he's still too raw, he's still too immature. And we're having that conversation, I think, about quite a few players heading into this tournament. But that's a good point. What can Spalletti do with Frattesi? And we've seen him carve out a lot of youngsters in the past. If we think of his time at Inter, at Roma, at Napoli, he's helped players really carve a name for themselves, even like Kvaratskhelia. That's first season or the only season under Spalletti. I mean, he just knows how to really use players to their utmost potential. We can even go all the way back after he came to Roma from Udinese, and he is the manager who invents the false nueve, as they call. I don't know why they call it false nueve and not falso nove, but perhaps it derives. How come it? Everyone says falso nueve. I'm like, that's Spanish, maybe. Yeah, in Italian, but I don't know why people still pronounce it in Spanish. But anyway, back to my point. So he invented that role for Francesco Totti. And I have a feeling that he can do something pretty special with Frattesi, because I think that this kid has a lot of grinta. I think he's got a lot of guts. Have you been able to see Frattesi really play at all this season, either in person, or have you paid much attention to his matches for Inter?
Yeah. I mean, I was at Empoli last week as well to cover the Italia-Bosnia game, and he scored a goal. And he's the best Italy scorer under Spalletti, so this means something. I mean, it shows how involved he is. It shows how how important he is to this side. His late runs. Of course, he is a young player, so we can't expect him to be 100% ready, 100% settled. He's a young player. He has room for improvement. He's going to make his Euro debut tonight as well. So it's going to be an important game for him. And as you said, I think the fact that it wasn't a regular starter at Inter, but he still did so well, it's of course something that plays in his favor, because I need to double check, but I think he has more goals in Serie A this season that the game started, which says a lot. I mean, he's a player who can give immediate contribution straight away. He's very focused. He has great mentality. He had clear ideas last year when he was meant to leave Sassuolo, and he had clear ideas about where he wanted to go. He said he wanted to play for a club that played well. He said he wanted to play for a team that would develop him, and that's what happened. So this is really what happened, and Frattesi for sure is going to play an important role tonight. We have to expect him to see in different positions, because as we said, we can line up in many different ways with these sort of players on the pitch. So he can be on the left, he can be in the middle, he can be an attacking midfielder, he can be on the right, he can be in many different places, but this doesn't mean it's going to be confusing from Spalletti and from Italy. This means they don't want to give reference points to the opponents.
Yeah, he's quite versatile, not giving reference points. A lot of times for Frattesi, I saw him under De Zerbi and for Sassuolo, and he was so good at dribbling out of tight spaces. I don't think that quality of him is always remembered, but he would start very deep. He would drop, get the ball back for De Zerbi, and work through and just constantly break the lines because he's so fast, he's powerful, and he's not bulky. He's just kind of slips through the lines. It's a unique talent, I think, in the squad. So I think that the fan who wrote in, Sicilian, I think, or I'm sorry, Unlock Trophies, he mentioned this about Fratesi, and I think it's a very good point about making him that focal point. And I think you also, or that emphasis onto him, I think you also make that a really good point too about like Fratesi is a professional. Look, he's going to go out and he wants to do his best. It's not that he's sentimental. It's not that he just wanted to go to England. He saw a project in Inter. Was he right? Yeah, of course. They probably should have been in the Champions League final. They won the Scudetto by a large margin. And Fratesi, whether he was a sub or he started, he had a big influence in a lot of that. So I'm hoping that he carries over that tonight. That's, I think, everyone's got to be looking forward to that. Also, more comments coming in, guys. You can keep them coming in. We're going to run for a few more minutes here, right until about 2:30 for me or 8:30 for Lorenzo. So, Forza Italia from Canada, we have from Grief 32.
Let's go.
Lorenzo,
Let's go.
do you know that there's a massive Italian community in Canada?
I know. Lot of people following the site from Canada, from US, from the UK, of course. Now, I have to say the attention on and focus on the national team is massive. I mean, the love for the Azzurri and for the shirt we got on the site, it's really incredible. We see the numbers every day, and we can see that. I mean, every story about Italy, everything we write about the national team, there's just so much love from everywhere, from the national team. And so this is really impressive, because you would expect it, from Italian media, but when it comes to foreign media, it's really impressive. I love to see it.
Yeah. Toronto, Montreal. Even there's a small community in Edmonton, which is way out west. I think they're unfortunately going to lose the Stanley Cup Finals in hockey tonight to the Panthers. But that's another story.
We need another live video for that.
Yeah, that's another video. But back to our show here. So Sicilian says, either way, I hope they do well. There's excitement from episode 13, who also mentions that there is a large following, like you mentioned, in the United Kingdom. A lot of that came from the 90s, I believe, with how this site started, Channel 4 Football Italia. So Mike Marto says the fluidity in the lineup is key. DiMarco will have a lot of freedom down the left to cause overloads. And I can't really recall in recent history such an impressive left back for the Azzurri. I think of maybe like Emerson. I think Emerson was the starter when Italy won the last Euro, but I don't remember him being like all that good. When he was
it was Spinazzola before he got injured.
Right,
and Spinazzola was huge in that tournament. One thing about left backs in Italian national team and in major tournaments, it may be a coincidence, it may be not, but when a left back comes up big and does big things at a major tournament, Italy win the major tournament. You remember Grosso in 2006. You remember Spinazzola in 2021, Euro 2020, 3 years ago. Both left backs, both impressive World Cup campaign and Euro campaigns, and we won both tournaments. So it's DiMarco can be one of those players who do this sort of thing. So we hope that. One thing about DiMarco is that he has to be, how can I say? I mean, he gives his all. It's very hard to see him finish 90 minutes. So he's usually subbed off after 65 or 70 minutes because he gives it all on the pitch. And we have the replacements there. We have Cambiaso. We have Bellanova. Of course, he plays on the other side, on the right. But there are tactical adjustments that we can make if he wants to replace DiMarco with Bellanova. So expect some 65-7 minutes of high intensity from Di Marco, and then maybe somebody else in his place.
That's an excellent point. That I didn't even think of it in that context. Like every time Italy has won a major tournament, it's been a left back who played a major role. So I do think, and I'm hoping that that torch will pass now from what Spinazzola was able to do, because Italy got that far, I think, because of those man of the match performances from him. He was what I say, like lights out. He was just so darn good. But I think that Di Marco can carry that torch. I think he's got it in him. I think he can use that energy, like you've mentioned. He can go all out, and he can be a standout player in this tournament. Guys, we are going to be around about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour after the match for the post stream. This was excellent having Lorenzo on site. I'm starting to get the brividi, the goosebumps. I'm like, let's go. We saw our starting lineups. Everything is available on the Football Italia site. Stay with us on the blog, and make sure you guys come back and tell your friends that we've got this live stream going, because I think this has been really great, Lorenzo.
Cool. I hope everyone enjoyed it. We're going to do this thing for the whole Euros, so we hope to do it. We hope to do it for as long as possible, and yeah, we speak later on after the game, after the match, after the press conferences.
All right. Thanks, Lorenzo. Enjoy the match.
So we say goodbye with the Albanian fans who've been the host, almost the host of this show. We speak later, guys. Bye bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.